Michael Steele. In the meantime, we want to talk with our panel now about a wide variety of subjects, not the least of which is Nancy Pelosi and Harry Reid.
Well,
Richard Socarides joins us.
We could start
Adam
there,
Geller,
sure.
Angela McGlowan, John Fun. Adam, you think Nancy Pelosi is going to resign by the end of the week? She's not even going to be a member of the House of Representatives. What about Harry Reid? Is there going to be a movement afoot for him to step down as majority leader?
It wouldn't surprise me if there's a movement afoot, but it wouldn't surprise me if that movement goes nowhere and he remains entrenched, you know, in his perch.
He's a Democratic hero. He conquered all of the odds. Now,
and the Tea Party.
One of the most unhappy people tonight is, of course, Chuck Schumer and Dick Durbin, two Democratic senators.
Because they wanted to replace him.
No, they're not unhappy. They're not really unhappy.
They're a little unhappy.
No, I don't really think.
Richard, it's human nature to be unhappy.
I'll also tell you who else
Durbin and
is.
Schumer and Reid are three of them very close, probably three of the closest members.
Well,
Personally,
Schumer
very close.
and Durbin are roommates.
And I think they're just glad that they've got that Nevada seat. I mean, they really.
There was a lot
very
of
happy
talk,
that they
though,
got
that if Harry Reid won, it was because he had worked really hard to get people out to vote. That they were very much into turnout. And I've always enjoyed and been interested in watching independent voters and where they go. And I want to share with our viewers Fox News exit poll that I find very compelling. In 2008, the independents came out for Democrats in their district by 8 points. Guess what? This time, independents, very different. They were backing Republicans by 15 points. John, what do you make of that?
Independents started to move away from the Democrats over a year ago. Remember, Republicans carried independents 2-1 in the New Jersey governor's race that Chris Christie won, 2-1 in the Virginia governor's race, 2-1 in the Massachusetts Senate victory of Scott Brown. That should have been the warning signal to the Democratic Party that they had some problems because independents decide elections. Instead, what did they do? After Scott Brown, they literally passed the exact wording of the Senate health care bill that they passed in December that had got everyone mad in Massachusetts. It was a colossal error. Two Democratic pollsters, Pat Caddell and Doug Schoen, wrote a piece in the Washington Post saying, if you pass this, you will have an historic defeat because the American people do not like to be ignored, and they're telling you they don't want this bill.
Independents are results-oriented. Democrats, they'll be loyal. Republicans, they'll be loyal. But independents, they voted for Obama because they wanted change. They didn't get the change that they wanted. Now they put Republicans in, and Republicans are basically...
So will they pick a party?
I don't
or
think
remain
they will.
independent?
I think they will remain independent. But if Republicans don't get the job done, and they have a tough job ahead of them, as John Boehner said, you're going to see a change in 2012.
Will there be pressure?
I just want to say it started in the summer. John is right. Over a year ago, it was the summer of 2009. It was the summer of the town hall meeting.
Yes.
Okay, and that's not a lot of time. That Obama had only been sworn in 6 months earlier. This is a fickle crowd.
Yeah, I wonder if there's going to be pressure on moderates in the U.S. Senate to vote with Republicans. There might even be, I heard one person suggest that perhaps there's going to be a de facto Republican majority on certain issues, especially among those Democrats who know they're vulnerable just 2 years from now. They see the writing on the wall, and they're going to say, you know what, we better go across the aisle with those guys.
It'll be issue by issue,
over
though.
the National Republican Senatorial Committee is already hopeful in 2012 to gain seats. And you're exactly right. Moderates are going to have pressure on them to compromise with...
But issue by issue, John.
Oh, sure. Let me give you one area where I think there can be some agreement. One of the things that got tossed out in the stimulus bill was all the welfare reforms that Bill Clinton signed into law in 1996. They were eviscerated. Those welfare reforms should come back into law. The Republicans want to do that. I think there are going to be a lot of moderate Democrats who will say welfare reform is one of the most successful public policy initiatives we've ever had. It was bipartisan. Let's bring it back.
I think your point, several hours ago about the tax cut, the extensions of the tax cuts, that's the first thing you're going to see.
Temporary for the rich and
permanent
for everyone else.
There were Democrats who were already willing to do that before this, but you'll see right away.
But even though Bill
Democrats
Clinton
will cave on those
signed
tax cuts,
welfare
extensions.
reform, that was a part of the contract with America. And may I remind you, Bill Clinton signed 70% of the contract with America, and I believe Obama's going to follow suit.
As we look to 2012, it does not look like young voters and minority voters came out in numbers ever close to what they did in the general election. What will they do the next time?
Traditionally, in midterm elections, blacks, Latinos, and young voters, they're not as motivated. But in presidential elections, they're going to come out.
It's a
let's
presidential year
just say, before we get too carried away with ourselves here, that these things are very changeable, that we see...
Which things?
These trends, these election trends, these voter trends. I mean, we saw this, Obama won in that was a big change election just 2 years ago.
I agree with Richard.
Now we see this incredible reversal, and voters are very demanding. They want what they want, and they want it now.
I agree with
It's a
Angela. Presidential
very
year-
fluid time, and I think we could 2 years from now we could be sitting right here. President Obama could be reelected.
The
Here's very likely
SEIU started in Arizona with Voter Get Out for Latinos. They're going to build the AFL-CIO. You're going to see unions come out. Acorn is going to rebuild. You're going to get a massive Get Out the Vote.
Quickly, though,
here's
Adam,
the issue.
talk to me also about your point you're going to make, but also about unions. What role did they play tonight?
Well, they're going to rebuild, and they're going to play a bigger role 2 years from now. The problem is that the Obama coalition is currently broken because of those independents we spoke about. So when presidential year voters come out, younger voters, minority voters come out again, you got to still look at those independents and see if they're going to
Unions are a big plus. Unions are a big plus for the Democratic Party, money, organization, the whole bit. But they cost the Democratic Party with independents because they insisted on keeping card check on the legislative agenda for far too long. Card check, which took away the secret ballot for union elections, was opposed by 80% of Americans. George McGovern did an ad against card check. That's how unpopular it was.
Not the same George
with
McGovern that
for
was
far
a
too
presidential nominee. That's a joke.
Listen, can I just say,
Guys,
I wrote a piece for FoxNews.com last week, and it was called "The Obama Comeback Begins Wednesday Morning."
Oh, boy.
And it's Wednesday morning.
All right.
I'm glad you mentioned FoxNews.com because the website's done a phenomenal job tonight, and I want to thank them for the information as well as our brain room. They don't get the credit they should. Fox News has the most incredible resources, and all the folks that work in our brain room did a phenomenal job tonight. Thank you so much.